Alright, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Why is it so hard to find a good woman these days? There's so many reasons why we can say why that's the case, right? This day and age, the 21st century. Uh, but I'm just give you my take on it. If you don't know who I am, my name is Jonathan Belcher. I would appreciate if you subscribe to my channel, drop a comment after this video letting me know your thoughts on this. Now, first, before I even go to this topic, start talking about this topic, we have to kind of break down what is a good woman. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of subjective. And a lot of times women will say things like, why doesn't relationships these days last as long as their grandparents' relationship? And a lot of that is because of technology, social media, because of the distractions. But to me, a good woman is a woman who's nurturing. A good woman is a woman who's there for you when you're up, when you're down, in the middle. A good woman to me is a woman who's, if she has kids, she takes care of her kids and she's there for her kids emotionally, as well as with her time. A good woman to me is a woman who does whatever she needs to do for her children to make sure that her children is safe and her children is secure. A good woman to me is a woman who is with a man and she may see that a friend of his is not necessarily good for him. She points that out. She has the intuitive power to say, you know what? I don't think that friend is really for you. I don't think you should deal with this friend because XYZ. A good woman to me is a woman who's has some things of her own that she's building on, where she doesn't necessarily have to only focus on her man 24/7. She can also focus on her little, her big empire that she's working on the side. But when I say little, I don't mean it as in it's less than. I just mean in the case of maybe she has children and she doesn't have as much time to focus on, creating a vision, which is fine. There's a lot of women that I know who had a lot of dreams and stuff like that, and then they had a child and they kind of had to settle down. So I understand that. So a good woman to me is a woman who's really, really there for a man, right? And she doesn't have to necessarily cook if she doesn't know how to cook, but maybe she cleans, she finds other ways to improvise. A good woman is a woman who sees that, her man doesn't look so great, so she fixes him up a little bit, tells him, yo, put on a better shirt, or, change your pants, or change your shoes. A good woman to me cares to some degree how she's represented by how her man looks, and also it's a virtuous woman. Now, if you ask me, to me, most women are okay, but there's a lot of women out there who have very, very high expectations and they haven't yet looked in the mirror. And as well as there's a lot of men out there who have a lot of high expectations and they haven't yet looked in the mirror at themselves and asked themselves if they're deserving of what they say they want. But to me, in this society these days, I think it's hard to find a good woman, really because of, like I said, the distractions. Really because of a lot of it has to do with social media, and especially young women, they have extraordinarily high expectations for young men, meaning, men in their 20s, early 20s and stuff like that. And I find from my experience that, when a man is young, it takes him a lot longer to mature in comparison to women. So, for example, he may think he knows what he wants, but he doesn't necessarily know what he wants yet. So then now he goes off and, for example, he may cheat or he may mess with another girl on the side or something like that. And it's because his hormones are still raging and he still has the urge to dabble and have sexual activity with multiple women. This is not all young men, but a lot of young men that I know. And not only young men, a lot of older men that I know as well. You'll be surprised, right? But what I will say that I'm observing in everyday life is that, it's like a comparison game. And that's why it's hard to find good men as well as good women, I would say. But I really, really have a lot of sympathy for the woman today in this era, because in my opinion, there's a lot of crazy guys out there who aren't stable at all. They have a traumatic past and crazy upbringings, and these guys, some of them are they hit women, they really, really, really are toxic to women, disrespect women, and they're just so insecure to the point where they don't allow their woman any type of freedom to be her in any sense of the word, right? Just being yourself. And to me, I feel very bad for the women who have to deal with that. There's a lot of guys out there. It's not easy to find good men, from what I've heard, right? Um, for me, my friends, a lot of my friends who are men, they're very good men, right? Very good guys. They're stable, emotionally stable. They're not crazy. They don't lash out. None of them that I know of actually hit a woman or abuse women. I don't hang out with people with guys like that. So I understand both sides of the spectrum, but we're gonna focus on why it's so hard to find good women these days. And like I said before, I think it's the comparison game. Like now that we have Instagram and we have Facebook, it's so easy for women to see what's going on outside of their relationship and then compare what they see, for example, on Instagram to what's going on within their current relationship. So you may have a woman who's in a friend group, and maybe she has a friend who just got married, and her friend just posted up pictures with her husband, him getting down on one knee. And then now that woman has an expectation for her man to now marry her and get down on one knee. Although he may not be ready, although he may not be financially stable, although he may not know exactly if he wants to get married right at that time yet, although he may not know exactly what he even wants yet, but now she's pressuring him to get married, stuff like that. Also, you have, a lot of different men out there on social media. So a lot of enticing looking other men out there, right? Besides the men she's just dealing with. And so now she's picking and choosing through a large array of selection. And by the way, this is a virtual selection. It's a virtual selection when you're talking about going through Instagram pics and seeing, ooh, he looks good, ooh, she looks good, ooh, he looks like he has a lot of money, ooh, she looks like she has a lot of money. And because we're in this era now where everything's so virtual, we're easily distracted. We're easily put in positions where we can compare what we have to what we don't have. And as human beings, for all of us, not just women, for all of us, sometimes we tend to want that thing that we don't know what it is, right? Or something that's mysterious to us because it's not what we're experiencing. So we want something outside of our situation, which is a very detrimental feeling at times, because you can have something very, very good at home and not even realize it, continuously overlook your girlfriend or overlook your boyfriend because of what you're scrolling through on Facebook and you're seeing. You know what I mean? Which, by the way, all of that virtual shit that you're seeing is all a facade at the end of the day. I'm not saying it's always fake, but it's just what you're seeing. It's not always what it is. I don't know about you, but I know for a lot of people that I know, their actual real life and the way they really are in real life, their personality in real life, is far much more different than how they market themselves online. 9 times out of 10, people market themselves a lot better than what they actually are, because it's kind of like they want to show to the world what they wish to be a lot of times. It may not necessarily be exactly what their actual life is like, but that's what they want to show and portray 24/7. So now when the girl scrolls through his Instagram, oh wow, this guy looks good, and then now she's thinking about, oh, last week, oh, my man, he didn't do XYZ that I wanted him to do. You know what I mean? And because he didn't do XYZ, there's got to be a better man out there, right? So then now she's searching for something that she thinks she wants, right? She's searching for something that she thinks she wants. And also, it's just, we're in an era where people women tend to make a lot of permanent decisions off of temporary feelings. Permanent decisions off of temporary feelings is a thing, right? It's one of those things where it's like, because you're so focused on the negative in your relationship or the negative in your situation, now it's like that feeling is causing you to make permanent decisions. Either you're going to make a decision to cheat, or make a decision to really, really hurt your significant other, or make a decision to do something that really jeopardizes your current situation because you think what's out there is better for you. And don't get me wrong, sometimes it may be better for you. But I think really it's hard to find good women these days, because it's kind of like women play double dutch with relationships and play double dutch with who they're talking to. Most times it's not the case, right? Most times women, once they're happy with something, usually they want to stick with that something, right? and hopefully whatever is she's happy about, that stays consistent and keeps going in the relationship. Because you know, at some point things can dry up in a relationship, and now she's looking elsewhere. So now she's looking outside of the relationship, trying to find somebody else. And one thing that I realized too, another thing is that women these days, I don't know if this is has always been the case, or if this is more prevalent today. I may have to talk to my grandmother or something like that, or my mom or something like that, or my dad or something like that, to find out if this is the case. But I've witnessed a lot of women, not only in my family, not only, you know, friends that I've had who are women, I've witnessed a lot of them open up new books before the old book is closed, if that makes sense. So they'll start opening up this book, but this book isn't fully closed. Yeah, it's on the way to being closed, but it's still not fully closed. So therefore, opening up this book and starting something new, overlapping this book that's almost closing, is still disrespectful, right? And it's not just women, it's disrespectful for men is doing it as well. But I think women do that because they more so have feelings of wanting to be secure and knowing that they can keep some type of love interest going, right? Women don't like to be alone usually. They hate being alone. And a lot of times they'll settle for something even less just for the sake of not being alone, right? I've seen that happen plenty of times with women. So I think these are the reasons why it's hard sometimes to find a good woman these days, is because of just the sheer selection of what's going on, right? It's the sheer selection, and everything is visual these days. And believe it or not, I think women have bigger egos than men, in my opinion, right? I think that women have bigger egos than men. There's been times in my life where I've rejected women and they treat me like I'm an enemy, and I didn't even reject them in a mean way. I rejected them in a very extremely nice way, to the point where it's only them who knows that I really rejected them. And it's not even like I rejected them to make them feel bad, but now it's like I'm a straight nemesis, I'm a straight enemy to them because I rejected them. But meanwhile, when a man gets rejected by a woman, you know, we bite that bullet, and we may even still try to hang around and still be her friend until someday she opens up and gives us a chance. But I don't see that happening a lot with women. It's kind of like women have the mindset where it's like, you know, you're supposed to say yes to me. You're supposed to take whatever I'm offering, right? And that's just what it is. So now the next thing I would say is just that indecisiveness, right? A lot of women, like I said in the video before that, women don't always know what they want until they get it. So they may say they want one thing, but then when they get that thing they say they want, they don't even know how, they don't even see it as something valuable, or someone valuable, not something, someone valuable, a man. And it's just what it is. So, but all in all, what I will say is that there are good women out there. I don't want you to be discouraged. I don't want to sound pessimistic at all. There are definitely good women out there who would care for you, nurture you, look out for you, right? Even if you're the breadwinner, it's okay. Even if you're paying for more of the bills than she is, it's okay. That doesn't discredit her from being a good woman. And that's another thing that us men have to realize, that just because she's not paying a bulk of the bills, that doesn't always necessarily mean she's not a good woman, right? But sometimes, to really test to see if your woman is a good woman, sometimes you may need to put her through a little experimental situation where you see how she's going to react in that situation, right? Now, I know not everybody would advise this, but personally, if it's somebody you're looking to marry at some point, or you're looking to be with for the rest of your life, I would recommend to put some type of test, but not a crazy test, right? Not like some crazy prank or nothing like that. Something reasonable, where you can see what she would really do in this situation, right? And you know, I know some people are watching this video right now, and some people may be mad at me, but I'm just, like I said, it's just my perspectives, it's my opinions. Hopefully my perspectives and my opinions can help people who are watching this video. If you don't find it to be helpful, then I don't know what to tell you. But, you know, these are my perspectives. It's not all truth. It's not set in stone. It's just what I see and what I observe, and things that I've experienced in my life. Also, another thing that I see, it's so hard to find a good woman these days also, is because they will have like these things like, oh, he has to be making $300,000 a year, or he has to be having $200,000 in the bank account, or he has to drive this kind of car, or he has to have this kind of clothes, or he has to have this kind of house. Setting up all of these materialistic barriers, if you will, or materialistic expectations from the opposite sex, well, number one, it weeds out a lot of the good guys automatically, right? Because not every guy who's good is necessarily financially well off. Not every guy who's good necessarily knows how to dress that well. So what a good woman will do is see that man who's a good man. He may not have the best dressing skills in the world, but she sees he's a good man. She's going to give him a chance, and then she's going to show him how to dress better. She's going to give him some pointers on how to look better. She's going to give him some pointers on how to move better. That's what a good woman does, right? She sees and looks for the main good qualities. And she says, forget about all of the enticing stuff. What is this man about? What is his character like? What is his personality like? Is he somebody that I can have kids with? Is he somebody that I can build a future with? Is he somebody that's going to be there for me if XYZ hits the fan? That's what a good woman will do, right? But most women these days, it doesn't necessarily work like that. They're enticed by the glitz and the glamour of things. They make permanent decisions off of temporary feelings. And then they end up in a situation they're not so happy about that they're now stuck in. And I've seen this firsthand, right? One of my exes, it was a situation, where she made a decision, permanent decision off of a temporary feeling. And then she expressed to me how crazy this situation is that she's in now. And it was too late at that point, life just happened and it is what it is. But at the end of the day, we have to, as people looking for significant others and trying to be in relationships, we have to look at what's most important. What's most important, right? And then after you get through the list of what's most important, then you can start to check out the other things that you may want, but you don't necessarily need from the other person, right? And don't get me wrong. If you're trying to get with that man or that woman, you should always put your best foot forward. You should always smell your best, dress your best, look your best, feel your best, be confident, be happy, be joyous, right? Presentation is key. Presentation is key. Presentation is key. Now, if the significant other wants to judge you off your presentation and you did your job to look good, smell good, and carry yourself well, hey, it just wasn't meant to be. It's okay, right? There's always another person. We got 8 billion people on the earth, right? There's got to be good men. There's got to be good women out there. There's got to be good men. There's got to be good women out there. But I think at a higher level today, a lot of women aren't willing to fight for what they truly want. I think a lot of women, once they see a little bad sign, they're ready to hit the exit and look for something else, right? And then they look for something else. Then they look for something else. Then they look for something else. And that's not what a virtuous woman does, That's not what a virtuous woman does. What a virtuous woman does is sees great qualities in her man, and she tries to stick it out for a little bit to help him out to get back on track if he is off track a little bit. That doesn't mean you have to take any type of disrespect for long periods of time. It just means that sometimes we're jumping ship too fast in life, and we need to just settle for a second to see what's up. Give people a chance to mature. Give people a chance to grow. People make mistakes. As human beings, we all make mistakes. And I get it. Some women out there are like, look, I don't have no time for mistakes. And I would think that the older a woman is, the less time she has for mistakes. But then after she gets after she passes the age of having a child or so, then you'll realize older women, in my experience, are they know exactly what they want. They're not wasting too much time. They're getting straight to the point. They're going to let you know right out what it is that they want. And it's either you respect it, neglect it, or you forget it, right? It's either you respect it, neglect it, or you forget it. Whatever choice you want to make, but older women, they tend to know exactly what they want. So you got to go into that situation knowing what you want to. And sometimes it could just be fun, right? And she'll let you know that too. But all in all, I think I'm really speaking about the women that are young today. And then you have those women who have the mindset that they're successful and they have the mindset, oh, I don't need a man, right? I don't need a man. And that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother spiel, because the main issue I see with that is if that woman feels like she doesn't need a man, then what is the message she's sending to her son? what is the message she's sending to her daughter, right? Her son who's going to grow up to be a man someday. Her daughter who's going to grow up to want a man someday. What is that message being sent to their kids if you think, oh, I don't need a man? It's not about necessarily needing a man. It's not necessarily about, oh, I need a man necessarily. It's just about understanding how to compromise with a significant other, how to build with a significant other. It doesn't matter if you're the breadwinner making the most money as a woman. You can still respect the man in his right, in his role. You understand? If that makes sense. But yeah, that's my take on it. My take on why it's hard to find good women these days. I just think that there's a lot of distractions in the world. I think that women know that they have the ability to attract men so easily, so they're not really trying to fight for what's here. They're ready to move on to the next thing really, really quick without even taking any time. And also, I think, you have some women out there who just wanna party and just shake their ass all day, and they're not really fit to be a mom someday, right? Or maybe they're not in a position right now. They're not mentally fit to be a mom, but someday they may be. Because I never have the mentality where I just write people off. I don't have that mentality. I have the mentality that things can get better. People can change. People can improve. People can grow up. People can mature. But if you really want to have a good woman, you got to be optimistic at the end of the day. You have to know, number one, that there are good women out there. And number two, put your best foot forward so that you can attract that good woman that you want, because they're out there, right? And don't always just say, oh, she has to be a freaking supermodel with the craziest nice body, the nicest face in the world. You don't got to do that, right? You may want to maybe she's an 8 out of a scale of 1 to 10, but that's okay. That doesn't mean she's not a good woman, right? Maybe she's a 7 out of a scale of 1 to 10, but that's okay. That doesn't mean she's not a good woman, and vice versa. So that's my take on why it's so hard to find good women these days. Let me know, drop some comments below on what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. This is Jonathan Belcher. Check out the description below. Peace.